Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gadget Garage. Today is a new bike day and I'm going to be featuring a bike from Magicycle. Now, I've been following their brand for quite some time from the sidelines and I'm really impressed with the lineup of bikes that they have. And the bike that we're going to be looking at today is the Ocelot Pro 2.0. Now, if you're not familiar with this particular bike, on paper, this thing should be a performance powerhouse. And by performance powerhouse, I mean it's got specs above and beyond what you typically see in more budget-friendly electric bikes. And this particular bike has got a really nice feature which basically throws the question of whether or not to go with a torque sensor or a cadence sensor out the window. Now, full disclosure, Magicycle did send this bike over to me for review purposes, but as always, all thoughts, opinions, and conclusions are my own. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to take you through a close-up look of all the features on this bike. Then we're going to get this thing charged up and take it on its first impressions ride. So without further delay, let's jump into the details. Alright folks, so there is a view of the Ocelot Pro 2.0. I have this particular bike in this maroon color, but they do offer multiple color options for you. And a couple high-level stats about this bike. Number one, it weighs in at 74.7 pounds. I went ahead and threw it on our commercial scale, so it's about 1.7 pounds heavier than what they have listed on their website. So taking a closer look at this bike, as you can see, this has got a very nice matte paint finish to it. And then when we look at the weld lines, they're actually very well done on this bike. They actually look like stacked dimes, basically everywhere where you see weld points, including down here by the crank. Very clean, very good job. The tires on this bike are 20-inch by 4-inch Chow Yang fat tires, and they do have this knobby tread, which is going to be good for riding both on and off the beaten path. So starting at the rear of the bike, we do have this bolt-on rack, which does have a maximum capacity of 25 kilograms or approximately 55 pounds. So one nice little touch that Magicycle added to this is they did include these nice little tie downs, which basically bolt right into the side of the bike, which is a nice addition because a lot of times e-bike companies will, equip their bikes with a rear rack, but there's no tie downs or anything like that. You'll be responsible for finding your own. They included in this nice little touch. Now, just below that rear rack is our plastic fenders. I do like plastic fenders because they do a better job of kind of dampening the noise that like pebbles and rocks and stuff make when they get kicked up by your tire. Up front, we also have a front fender as well. And these fenders are nice because they'll help keep, dirt, water, debris off of you as you're riding. Here at the rear of the bike, we do have this brake light and tail light combo. So when you pull on these brake levers, it does get brighter. Powering this bike is a 750 nominal watt rear hub motor, which is capable of cranking out, get this, 1,500 watts of peak power, which is above and beyond the 800 to 1,200 watts of peak power that we normally see in bikes in this class. Another thing to call out about that rear hub motor is that it's capable of cranking out 100 Newton meters of torque, which is absolutely insane for a bike this size. Here we've got a 14 to 28T rear cassette, as well as a Shimano Altus derailleur, as well as this pre-installed derailleur guard. That way, if you drop the bike, you're not going to be damaging that. Moving forward on the bike, we do have our 48-tooth chainring, as well as these plastic pedals. The battery on this bike is located on the underside of the down tube here, and it is 52 volts, 20 amp hours. So that's 1,040 watt hours of capacity. And given it comes with a 3 amp charger, you're going to be looking at approximately 6 to 7 hours to charge it from 0 to 100%. Now, if you followed my channel for a while, you'll know that I do full-length range tests on all the devices that I test out. And this battery being 1,040 watt hours is kind of scaring me because I know that range test is going to go on for hours and hours and hours. I think my longest ride was just shy of 5 hours, so I'm kind of terrified to see what this will do. Now, they do say it'll get up to 120 miles of range. Just keep in mind, those are theoretical figures, usually riding in the lowest level of pedal assist, with a 180 pound or 165 pound rider on flat ground with like no stop and go, basically treadmill condition. So in the real world, you're probably gonna get something very different, but stay tuned because I will be publishing a full length range test in future videos. As I mentioned, this bike does come with a 3 amp charger, and if you're curious where to plug it in, well, there you go. You got a nice rubber covered charging port here, help keep the elements away from that. Yeah, you can plug it in, charge it externally, or you can remove this battery and charge it separately from the bike. Moving to the front of the bike, we do have these mounting ports. If you want to put on a front basket, you can absolutely do that. If you're going to be riding around at night, this bike does come equipped with this nice little headlight. It's got some ambient lighting on the sides around the bulb, and then of course you got the bulb itself. In terms of the brakes, we do have Tektro hydraulic disc brakes as well as 180mm rotors, both in the rear and up front. And in the front, we do have a quick disconnect for the front wheel. Nice robust looking kickstand, height adjustable seat with a decent amount of cushion as well as a rear reflector. And this right here is where things start to get interesting. You see, when it comes to e-bikes, you often have to make a decision. Should I go with a torque sensor e-bike or should I go with a cadence sensor e-bike? You don't have to worry about that with this bike, because guess what? It's got both. So check this out. See that T right there? Yeah, that means torque sensor. If I push the I button on the control pad and hold it, it switches to S. S means cadence sensor. So you can actually switch this on the fly between torque and cadence depending on how you feel that day. Being able to switch between a torque sensor and a cadence sensor is an absolutely fantastic feature, and I wish more bike companies did it. The battery on an e-bike is often the most expensive component, so it's nice that they have a little locking mechanism here. First thing you gotta do is find your key, and once you find it, insert it into the keyhole, twist. You'll see the battery pop out. It's not just going to fall out because you have a safety lever here. All you got to do is twist this safety lever and the battery will come right out. Taking a closer look at this battery, you do have a button here which will give you basically the charge status. You push and hold. It'll light up the appropriate number of LEDs, so this is obviously not fully charged. And of course, if you want to charge this battery externally, you do have your charging port there. Working our way up towards the cockpit of the bike, we do have these nice rubber ergonomically shaped hand grips. They aren't locking, so we'll definitely see if these twist around on some of our longer rides. Just in front of that is going to be our Tektro hydraulic brake levers, which feel very nice. To the right of all of that is going to be our control pad. So at the top we do have a power button, so if I go ahead and click on that, there you go, Magicycle comes up on the screen. We also have our plus and minus buttons. These control your levels of pedal assist, of which this bike has 7. And then of course we've got a little information button here. If you do want to turn on the lights, you just press and hold the plus button, and there you go. There's our headlight, our tail lights are on. Working our way over, we do have this bell, and if you want to hear that, this is what it sounds like. Pretty exciting stuff. Here we've got our color LCD display, so there's actually a lot of information on here. I'm very surprised. We've got our power indicator, which is both a percentage and a bar. We've got a little icon for our headlight being on. There's a little clock there. Obviously it's not 5:07, it's like 1 a.m. Here we've got a wattage readout, which is always nice to see. We've got a speedometer. You can change, of course, miles per hour, kilometers in the menu system, but this partial circle here is your speed. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, goes all the way up to 30 miles an hour. The listed top speed for this bike is 28 miles an hour. Of course, we will be putting that to the test. Of course, down here is our cadence sensor as well as torque sensor indication. We've got trip as well as our pedal assist levels. I did say it has 7 levels of pedal assist. Let's toggle through. Yep, goes all the way to 7. Typically on e-bikes we see 5, so having 7 is going to give you a little more granular control of the pedal assist. To the left of that we do have our trip readout, which is basically your mileage elapsed for that particular trip. If you hit the I button, you can go to your odometer, max speed for that ride as well as average speed. The time that's elapsed since you powered on the bike, and then of course it goes back to trip. Now if you do want to go to the advanced menu system on this bike, you simply hold the plus and minus button, push and hold, bada boom bada bang, there you go, nice color display. You've got some options here. You can go in and make some changes to the wheel parameters. The speed limit of the bike, hit the I button to go on there. You can adjust this, it looks like all the way to 28. Anyways, we'll play around with that later. Going back here, you can adjust the screen brightness, the voltage of the bike. You can go into the advanced menu settings. And then of course we can exit and go back to our dashboard. On the right hand side we do have our 7-speed gear shift. It's pretty typical for the e-bikes in this class. And then of course we've got our right hydraulic brake lever as well as a half twist throttle and the rest of our nice ergonomic grips here on the right hand side. All right, folks, so I don't know about you, but I definitely want to get this thing out on the road. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get this thing charged up, and we're going to go ahead and take it out on its first impressions ride. So we are out here on the Magicycle Ocelot Pro 2.0, and this is going to be our first impressions ride. So what I'm going to do right now is start off with 0 pedal assist, and we're just going to manually pedal this bike and see what it's like. And that's always something you want to take into consideration. You know, if you're ever riding a big, heavy e-bike and it happens to run out of power, you're going to have to ride that back home or to wherever you started. And so right now, pedal assist is 0. I am just cruising around in gear 2, and this is really comfortable. We're cruising around about 9 miles an hour right now. Let's go ahead and shift gears here. Gear 3, still very comfortable, 10 miles an hour. Let's bump it up to gear 4, see if we can go a little bit faster with a similar amount of effort, 11 miles an hour. So good news with this bike is that, you know, if you end up running out of power, you can absolutely pedal this, even given its weight and the fact that it's got 20-inch by 4-inch fat tires. So very well geared for that purpose. Right now we are in cadence sensor mode, so I'm going to bump it up to pedal assist level 1. See what that takes us to. Looks like 10, 11 miles an hour. There's very little assistance. We'll bump it up to pedal assist level 2 in cadence sensor mode. That gives us a little more assistance for about 12 miles an hour. Pedal assist level 3. Okay, motor's kicking in. About 14 miles an hour. Pedal assist level 4, definitely a jump in power. Typical jump that you would expect with something equipped with a cadence sensor. And we'll go on this straightaway over here. Getting a better gear for this. So pedal assist 4, it's looking like 19 miles an hour. Pedal assist 5, 23 miles an hour. Pedal assist 6, we're gonna need a longer straightaway for that. So I'll get us turned around and we'll see how fast we can get going in pedal assist 6 using cadence sensor mode. So we're turning around, and this thing's got a lot of power. I'm going to tell you that right now. Pedal assist 6, I am pedaling along. Definitely some ghost pedaling at 26 miles an hour. We're at 27, 28, 29. I'm gonna go ahead and bump it into pedal assist 7, another jolt of power, 30 miles an hour, 31. So there you go, 31 miles an hour using the cadence sensor in pedal assist level 7. Now I will be doing a speed and acceleration test here using throttle only when we get to another area, kind of a more open street that goes for a longer distance. But first thing I'm going to tell you right now is this bike has a lot of power. A lot more power than any other e-bike in this class that I've ever tested. So cadence sensor mode, yeah, that's going to get you up to speed fast. And you know, with cadence sensors, you know, depending on your level of pedal assist, it'll actually bump you up to the speed limit for that pedal assist level. So to give you a little idea of what the behavior is in cadence sensor mode, right now we're at a complete stop. I do have it in pedal assist 7. And as soon as I start moving those pedals, oh, there's the power kicking. There's a little bit of a delay. It's pretty typical of a cadence sensor. But as you can see, immediate power delivery. And what I like is that, you know, this particular bike has 7 levels of pedal assist. And what that's going to give you is more granular control of the speed in which you're riding. We will cross on over to the bike trail here. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch us into torque sensor mode. So torque sensor is going to be a pressure-based system. It's not just based on the movement of the pedals. It's completely based on how much pressure you apply to the pedals, which gives it a more natural ride feel. A lot of people will kind of associate it with having superhuman legs. So right now, I am in pass level 1, and with the torque sensor, the harder you pedal, the faster you go. And so, you know, I'm definitely doing some work, but I can feel the motor kicking in. Go into pedal assist level 2, and there you go. You got more power delivery, and if I pedal harder, I'm gonna get even more power delivery. Pedal assist 3, same thing, 4, 5, 6, let's go to 7 just for fun. Right now, I am calmly pedaling, very little effort on my part, very manageable cadence, and I'm going 19 miles an hour. But if I put some power down to these pedals, we immediately get additional power delivery from the motor. And the harder I pedal, the more output I'm gonna get from that motor. And that's what I love about torque sensors, is they give you a very natural ride feel. When it comes to braking power, this bike does have those 180 millimeter rotors, both up front and in the rear. It's also got the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, and those hydraulic brakes are gonna give you a lot more stopping power with a lot less effort on your part relative to cable actuated manual brakes. So I'm gonna get us going here at about 20 miles an hour or so, and we're gonna hit the brakes in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, plenty of stopping power. If I want to, I can lock up both wheels, no problem. Ideally, you'll want to avoid locking up the wheels because you lose traction. What I'm gonna go ahead and do right now is I'm gonna get another camera set up so you can see those brakes in action from a third-person view perspective. And our final brake test, get us up to about 20, 3, 2, 1, go. So if you want to lock out those brakes, you absolutely can. When it comes to using the throttle on this bike, one thing that I always look at is whether or not the throttle gives you incremental control of speed or whether it's all or nothing. And we'll find out right now. So I'm slowly twisting. There's a little bit of a dead zone. Okay, motor's kicking in, and we're maintaining about 8 miles an hour. If I twist it a little bit more, we're at 9 miles an hour, twist it a little bit more, we're at 10, a little more, a little more, a little more. You just keep twisting, and it gives you that granular control over your speed, which is very nice, because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of e-bikes on the market today that don't have that granular control. So I do want to mention something about the screen on this bike. I'm wearing polarized sunglasses right now, and as I'm looking down at the screen, it's very hard to make out what's on there. If I look at it at a slight angle, I can see everything perfectly. So just keep that in mind. You know, if you're gonna be riding around with polarized lenses, you might have to adjust the way you look at the screen. And unfortunately, it's kind of a mixed bag out there with electric bikes, electric scooters. Some of the screens are easy to see with polarized lenses, others not so much. You do have some road noise that comes from these knobby tires. Of course, that's to be expected. But the benefit there of having those kind of tires, it's gonna give you the ability to ride on varied surfaces. Right now, I'm heading over to a little dog park area, which has got a little bit of an incline that we can test this out. Obviously, I will be heading to Phoenix's South Mountain with this bike to do a proper endurance hill climb test. You know, it's 17.5 miles, 1,800 feet in elevation gain. But this particular bike has a tremendous amount of power at 1,500 watts. So it's gonna be way above and beyond what you typically get with your more budget-friendly e-bikes. And we'll test this out on the grass a little bit. We'll just roll on through here. Suspension's doing a good job of absorbing that impact. Doesn't have a rear suspension, you only have it in the front. But that's more than sufficient for the riding that we're doing. Pedals, you know, it is a 20-inch tire bike, and so the pedals are going to be lower to the ground than like a 26-inch bike, 26-inch tire bike. And so just keep that in mind. If you're taking sharp turns, make sure that your pedals are at least level, and that the turning side, you don't have the pedal in the down position, because you could end up scraping that pedal on the ground. And when we come around this, we'll test the hill climb in pedal assist level 3 torque sensor mode. And here we go. This is our incline pedal assist level 3. Just, you know, casually pedaling up. I'm putting in very little effort. We're maintaining 15 miles an hour. If I crank that up to pedal assist level 7, you know, it ups the ante a little bit. We get more output. And if I press down on those pedals harder, I'm gonna get even more output. All right, so I went ahead and connected to the Draggy GPS performance monitor. If you're not familiar with this, it's actually a device that I have mounted on my helmet. It's a GPS receiver, and it's got a companion app for it. And it looks like we're ready. I'll just hit reset just in case. and then I will bump us up into pedal assist level 7, but this is going to be a throttle only test because everybody pedals at different rates, so this is going to be the most consistent way to do it. We're going to go ahead and start our test in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, throttle is definitely got a lot of kick to it. We are already past 20 miles an hour. 27, 28, this is throttle only, people. 29, 30. All right, looks like about 31 miles an hour. That is throttle only, 31 miles an hour. I'll go ahead and get us slowed down here. All right, folks, so there you have it. 0 to 15 miles an hour, 3.94 seconds. 0 to 20, 7.2 seconds. 0 to 25, 12.3 seconds. 0 to 30, 27.5 seconds. And that is the fastest speed increment that we were able to achieve on this ride. So 30 miles an hour in throttle only mode. That is absolutely insane. Now, obviously, there are different classes of e-bikes, class 1, class 2, class 3. So I definitely recommend checking with your local rules and regulations before you go out riding, you know, in this fully unlocked mode. You know, out of the box, you know, it's class 2 e-bike, but it does give you the ability to go into the settings menu and make some adjustments to unlock its full potential. So if you're somebody who likes cruising around with throttle, I'll tell you right now, the throttle on this bike is very responsive. It's got a lot of kick to it. It's got a heck of a lot more kick than you're gonna find in any of those budget-oriented e-bikes that are out there. As you can see, this bike has swept back handlebars. That makes this extremely comfortable on the hands and wrists. Sometimes bikes have, you know, straight bars, which over longer rides can, you know, result in some fatigue in your wrists. As you can see, it is a pretty nimble bike given its fat tires and heavier weight. Riding around with throttle, I'll say right now, is very fun. This bike almost reminds me of like a little motorcycle, you know? Get you going quick. You know, bikes with smaller motors, you know, 500 watt motors that peak at, you know, 800, 900, 1,000 watts. You know, that throttle will get you going, but it's not going to get you going like this will get you going, that's for sure. Now, if you are cruising around on your bike and you need to like charge up your phone or something, you do have a USB-A port directly under this screen. So you just lift up that little waterproof flap, plug it in, and you're good to go. Now, for those of you who stuck around this long, I'm going to go ahead and give you some bonus footage. We'll see how this does on some of this bumpy stuff. Okay, no problem making it up that. We're gonna go down this steep embankment and then we'll use throttle only, see how well we make it up. We will cruise on down. Oh, looks like they've got a lot of fine dirt here. That was a little more hard packed last time around. Oh, it's nice and dusty. All right, here we go. Gonna head on up. Throttle only. Oh my gosh, that was easy. Come on, I only had the throttle a quarter of the way in. Wow, this thing does have a lot of torque. We'll start closer to the base of that and see if we can power on through. See how the suspension here definitely has travel. It's on the firmer side right now. But yeah, even with my weight, it's not bottoming out. So that's awesome. Take a little shortcut here. Power on through this fine silt. See what 100 Newton meters of torque looks like. We'll get a little bit of a shorter runway here. Here we go, throttle only. Oh, there we go, made it. I thought I was gonna have to apply a little pressure to the pedals there, but we made it. So that's 100 Newton meters of torque for you. Thought it was gonna stall out there, but we made it. We'll head up one more time. Throttle only. Boom. All right, folks, so there you have it. That was my first impressions ride with the Magicycle Ocelot Pro 2.0. And all I can say is that I'm really impressed with this bike so far. I think Magicycle did a really good job with this. It's got a really sturdy frame. Even though it's a step through, you don't have any kind of wobble or movement in the bike, especially when you're going over rough surfaces. It is absolutely solid. If I can think of one word when it comes to this bike, it's power. 1500 watts of peak power, 100 Newton meters of torque is absolutely insane, and that's more than enough to get you out of any kind of a hairy situation. And I always like to say, you know, for me, I like riding around 17, 20 miles an hour on my e-bikes, nice, calm, relaxed, like to enjoy the scenery. But if I ever need the power, it's always good to know that I have it in reserve, and with this bike, it's almost like an unlimited reserve of power. Now, if you do want to pick up one of these bikes, I will include an affiliate link in the description below, as well as any available coupon codes. And if you use those to make your purchase, I'll tell you right now, it absolutely helps support this channel and keeps the wheels moving on future reviews. So I will be following up this content with a range test, with a hill climb test, but so far this bike is a winner in my book. In terms of things that I noticed that I think could use some improvement, it's primarily that screen. If you're wearing like polarized sunglasses or something like that, you're gonna have a hard time seeing it straight on, but if you look at it from a slight angle, you can definitely see what's going on. Anyways, let me know if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. Happy to address those, and as always, thank you so much for tuning into Tom's Gadget Garage. We'll see you next time.